What is up, Flexers? I am back this week. Sorry, there is a lot going on. There's a lot of movement in my life right now. So I am trying my best to do this every week, but it seems like it's coming out to be every other week. But the good news is that we're almost to the finish line with the launching of our businesses. So I apologize for missing last week, but I'm here this week and I'm ready to move forward. I think the stuff that we're going to talk about going forward is going to be a lot more interesting than the than the structure video where we're talking about, sole proprietorships and all that stuff. But to just recap until now, we first started with our idea. That was the first thing. You needed to come up with an idea that addressed a hole in the market or a need in the in some market. So that's what your business idea or your business should address, some kind of hole or need. And after that, we did our vision boards. We did mind mapping. We basically set our intentions for our businesses and for just life in general. Hopefully, you did that, but mainly set our intentions for our business for the upcoming for 2022. So, and then after that, we talked about, like I just said, structures. We talked about sole proprietorships and partnerships, corporations, LLCs, all that kind of stuff. I did very, very surface just to kind of give you a little bit of what each one is, and pros and cons, but you really need to do your own research. You just really have to do more research and figure out which one best suits your business. We also spoke to my professional coach, Raquel Hopkins, and she basically was, helping us to understand, about basically how we show up in life is how we're going to show up in our business. And so you need to, whatever you have going on in your personal life, you need to clear that up so you can be fully present in your business. Then we also talked to Patricia Bedford of Sugar's Cakery, and she shared a little bit of her story about funding. I know that's going to be a big deal for a lot of you guys that are wanting to start businesses. How am I going to pay for all of this? So Patricia came on and talked about how she started her business and not started it, but how she funded her business when she wanted to move from a smaller segment into a much bigger segment. And so she used crowdfunding. I think she used Kickstarter. And she was able to get upwards of $16,000 or $18,000 to thrust her business forward. And so, yeah, so that's pretty awesome. So you have a lot of options out there as far as funding is concerned. Then I talked a couple weeks ago. I came on and I spoke about leading with your passion and posting with the purpose. And I felt like that was something, God put that on my heart to share with somebody as far as business is concerned, but also just for your personal life, and really the whole gist of that video was just as far as it relates to business is to make sure that you maintain tunnel vision. I said, lead with your passion and post with a purpose, but the general, the long and short of all of that is just to basically make sure you have tunnel vision while you are pursuing your business and before or while you're in the infancy stages of getting your business off the ground, because it's so easy to get distracted by what everybody else around you is doing, especially if somebody is doing something that's you're following a path that's highly saturated. It's very, very easy to get distracted by this person being ahead of you or that person, or, gosh, she posts this and she gets 50,000 likes. I post this, I get maybe 5 or 10 or, but stay in your lane, sis. Bruh, stay in your lane. Just stay in your lane and develop tunnel vision while you are on this journey. It is so important that you just stay focused on what it is that you're wanting your business to become. And so yeah, but in that video, I also talked about you starting to think about what you're going to name your business. That is something that is super important. The best analogy, and the analogy I love to give when it comes to businesses, or you think about your business as a baby, especially for those of you who are parents out there. Think about your business as a baby, and take your time. And that's another thing I want to say before I get on the naming of it. Take your time. You don't have to do the steps that we're doing here in real time. Take your time. This is something that you're building, and you want to build it brick by brick, and you want it to be successful. So don't rush this process. If one of the processes or one of the videos or one of the steps takes you, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, whatever, take your time, because this is the foundation is the most important part of anything. So if it takes you 2-3 years to get to that point, then so be it. It is what it is, So take your time. You don't have to go at my pace. You go at your own pace. Again, remember, tunnel vision. Stay in your lane, and just focus on the goal at hand. And so when we get to naming our business, make sure you take your time and put some thought into that. Like I said, think of it as a baby, as your baby. Your business is pretty much a baby, so you want to name it something. You wouldn't just name your baby the first thing that comes to mind. Most of you wouldn't. But you think about the name, whatever you're going to name your child. You want to think about it. You want it to have some meaning. You want it to be powerful. You want it to really represent who you think that they're going to become, or something strong, or whatever. You put some thought into whatever you want to name your child. So take that same approach to your business. Don't just pull something out of the air. Take some thought and really think about it, because hopefully your businesses will have longevity. And think about, this is what people are going to call your business for its lifespan, for its lifetime. This is what people are going to call it. So don't just, so if this is something that people are going to call it forever, then you want to make sure that it's something that you love and something that really resonates with you. So that's pretty much it on the naming of your business. So, but today's episode, I want to talk about target markets. Target markets is something that is so glazed and glossed over, but it is the meat and potatoes of any business, really. And if you can master this, I'm telling you, you are light years ahead of the game. If you are really, really good at this, I mean, you can make tons of money just with your business by mastering this, and people will even hire you to help them with this if you are really good at mastering your target market. What is a target market? So a target market is basically your customer. These are basically the people that you are trying to sell to. That is your target market. Whether it's men, whether it's women, whether it's the LGBTQ community, whether it's just African American people, Caucasian people, teens, whatever, whoever you're trying to sell to, that's your target market. And so what makes this so hard and so cumbersome is that it's so much that goes into that. It can be so in depth when you're trying to figure out who your target market is. That's something I have yet to master, and I'm still, working on getting better at identifying who my person is that I want to sell to. But while I was in fashion school, they had us research a certain brand, and for that particular brand, we had to identify what that brand's target market is. And so, that was kind of to give us like a little idea of what we thought, and just to kind of help us to understand a little bit more about target market. Because, there's a lot of brands out there, and instantly who they're marketing to. Like Toys R Us, for us older generation, Toys R Us, their target market is kids. They're marketing to children. They're selling toys. That's their target market. They're They are made for children, right? So they want things that are going to appeal to children, but they also have to they have to catch the eye of children, but it can be tricky because they also have to catch the eye of parents. But, but their target market is kids. So, that's a pretty simple one. But we had to, I was in fashion school, so it had to be a designer. But I wanted to kind of take you guys through what I did. And so to help you to understand what exactly a target market is. So my brand was, or person really, designer, was Dapper Dan. And he is a designer from Harlem. He's an older designer. He is known for, he's known or dubbed the king of knockoffs. So basically what he would do is he would take, like, you could go out and see like a really fly, expensive Gucci jacket, right? And so he could basically look at that jacket and replicate it, but not only replicate, but make it way flyer. And so that's how he made like a whole bunch of money, like ridiculous amounts of money. And he catered to a lot of the athletes, and well, his target market initially was drug dealers because back in his day, in like the way back in the day, like in the 70s, 80s or whatever, those were the only people really that in his area that could afford the clothing and the price point that he was selling his clothes at were drug dealers. So that's who he marketed to. But, as he got older and, and things happened, he has a really good book that you have to read. It's so good, but I don't want to get into talking about his story, but he's a really, really dope and interesting dude. Like that, check him out if you haven't. He's super interesting. But in doing Dapper Dan and his brand, the way I approached the target market was I created a customer profile. And in that customer profile, I just kind of did what I thought just from looking at, his marketing campaigns and ads and his history and reading his book. I just kind of went off of that to figure out who I thought his customer was. And so I'm going to actually put that on the screen now so you can see the slide from my presentation. And this will help you to better identify what the target market is. So I just kind of guessed that the age range of his ideal customer would be 30 to 55, because a lot of his stuff was a little more expensive. And so I think when people get into about their 30s and older, they tend to be a little more set in their careers. And so they're able to afford more expensive items. His style is high-end street. It's very, very street style. And so it's high-end. The income, that's really important to know. How much does your target market make? Because that's how you're going to adjust your price. If your target market are teenagers or 18-year-olds, 19, or people in their early 20s, then you're not going to be able to charge prices that are like $500 for a pair of jeans or whatever, because that demographic is most likely not going to be able to afford it. So you're going to have to really consider that in figuring out your pricing. Where do they live? Like, where does your target market live? Do they live in your city? Are they in LA, wherever? As you see for Dapper Dan, you can see on the screen, New York, Atlanta, Chicago, Los Angeles. Their education. How educated are they? Are they high school? Are they college? Or, that all goes into your branding, their education. For me, some of the, all of this might not apply to your thing, but this is just what I did for Dapper Dan. Where do they live? They live in a house, they live in an apartment, because all that feeds into income. And even socioeconomic status, that's a part of it as well. Social media, where that's a big one. A lot of this pertains to fashion, but just in general, social media is a big thing. Where are you going to advertise on? If they are a younger demographic, they'll most likely be on Instagram or Twitter. If they are older, they probably will be on Facebook, or places like that. So you have to consider that as well. Where are they at? Basically things of that nature. That's pretty much what I did. Was I just created this customer profile so I would know how to figure out who my customer is for my business. And so I'm going to put this actually on the website, and I'm going to take all of my data out of there, and you can practice. And I challenge you actually to even find a brand out there that already exists. Just do what we did in school. Find a brand that exists already and see if you can fill this out for that particular brand. And so you get a feel about what the actual target market is. And so once you go through that, do it like a few times. Don't just do it just once. Like, find a few different companies and fill this thing out and just keep doing it until you're comfortable with it. And then once you get comfortable with it, then you can start trying to build this for your own business and figure out who your target market is. Because I'm telling you, once you master that and your target market and all that stuff, oh my gosh, it will be so much easier for you to be able to market. For example, like if you get on Facebook, I know it's Meta now, but it's going to always be Facebook to me because, I'm grandfathered into the Facebook name because that's what it was when I was growing up. But anyway, but like on Facebook or even on Instagram, when you're creating ads and stuff, you may or may not know, but you can tailor your ad all the way down to like these very things that I was talking about for the customer profile. You can adjust your ads by the person's income, by their gender, by their race, by you can really narrow it down. So if you really know who your target market is and you really master that, when you put ads on, if you want to pay for an ad on social media, you can really get your product directly into the faces of the people that are going to most likely want to buy it, because you've mastered that customer profile. You mastered creating your target market. So it's a little bit of work. That one is going to take some time. But really take some time to master that, because if you master that, I'm telling you, that's half the battle. Because marketing is, I feel marketing is a good 85% of the success of your business, is how you market. And you can't market if you don't know who you're marketing to. And so knowing who you're marketing to is marketing. So master that customer profile and master those target markets, and and you're on your way to being a very, very successful business. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I will do my absolute best to be here next week. I make no promises, but I'm gonna do my absolute best because I'm really pumped up, and these last few episodes are gonna be way more exciting and fun, and taps into a little bit more of your creative side. So we're gonna get into that over the next few episodes. But as always, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening, and I will see you next week in another episode. You guys have a great weekend. Check you later.